Today I want to look at the top 10 shelf-stable proteins that we can stock in our pantry. Proteins are so important when we are in an emergency situation. Our bodies need this protein. And if we're doing more physical work than we normally do, we're going to need even more protein than we normally need. So making sure we've got a good supply of proteins is super important in our pantries. And proteins can be a little tricky because they're usually quite pricey, but a lot of these are pretty affordable. They're going to last on the shelf because they are all shelf stable, and things that we can use to help boost protein in our meals and just make a meal out of some of them. So let's jump right in to the top 10 protein sources that are shelf stable. So the first one on my list is canned tuna. Canned tuna is a wonderful protein. It's still really affordable, around $1 a can, depending on what brand you want. You can definitely spend a lot more. Our local Walmart still has the Walmart brand for about $3 for 4 cans, which is a great deal to have on the shelf. And tuna is one of those really versatile fishes that you can put in tons of different things. We use it lots of ways to help save money and keep our protein up. The second one on my list is canned chicken. Again, super versatile. You can put it in just about anything. Chicken is great like that. So having a good supply of chicken on the shelf is super important. Whether you're canning it yourself or buying it in a can, either way is going to work perfectly. They last a super long time, for years on the shelf. And if I'm buying it at the store, I like to steer away from the pop top cans whenever possible because that rim is a lot thinner. It peels off really easy, so it's going to break down sooner than your solid cans are. The third thing on my list is salmon. Salmon is loaded with protein and omega-3s and all that good stuff that we need. You could do sardines as well if you prefer that, especially if it's a single person. A lot of the salmon cans are really big and it's a lot for one person, but if you are a single person preparing, sardines are also wonderful, and you can cook those up in a dish or just eat them right out of the can, however you'd like to. And number 4 on my list is peanut butter. Peanut butter is another calorie-dense, rich protein food that we can keep on our shelves, and it lasts a super long time. It's going to last a couple years past that expiration date. It's going to be just fine. Give it a good mix because a lot of times it will separate, and your peanut butter is just fine. You always just want to look and make sure that it is completely sealed. There's no air getting in. As long as it's sealed, it's going to most likely be good. You know, look at that texture, the smell, it should be just fine. It lasts well past that Best By date. Number 5 on my list is dried or canned beans. I think they are so important. A lot of people like to store the canned beans. I like to store the dried beans because they are so much cheaper. I can can them up myself. It's super easy to do. We just pop them right in the canner. We've got pints ready to go, or the canned ones at the store are wonderful as well because they are ready to go. You don't have to do any work. They do cost a little bit more, but whatever works for you is definitely what you should store in your pantry. Number 6 on my list is lentils. Lentils are super high in protein, just as much as a bean. You can add them into tons of different foods, and they cook so much faster. When you are cooking lentils, it only takes 15 to 20 minutes usually, or you can even buy the canned lentils. They're pretty pricey for what you're getting, but you can can them up yourself. Again, super easy. You can them just like beans, and they give you that same protein, but they are fast cooking when you have a bunch dried on the shelf. And number 7 on my list for shelf-stable proteins is dried milk. Milk is wonderful. It does add protein to your foods. And if you do not have fresh milk available, the dried milk is wonderful. It's awesome for baking, and we use it for all kinds of stuff on a regular basis because it's really inexpensive and it lasts on the shelf. So we like to make sure we have plenty of it. If we run out of milk when we're cooking, no problem. We just whip some up from the pantry and we have got some milk ready to go. And a lot of the milks, if you just try them out, different ones, you'll find one that works really well for you. You can also also go with the shelf-stable milks like the Dollar Tree carries, and those ones that are all made in the little cartons. They don't last as long as the powdered milk, but still super handy to have on the shelf. And number 8 on my list is canned soups and things like that, chilies, because they are open and eat. If you can heat them up, they taste better, but they have complete meals right in a can. You can get SpaghettiOs or soups or anything like that. Chilies. When I buy canned chili, I like to make sure it has no beans. I can add a can of beans to it if I want more, but it has more meat in the can if you get the no bean one. So we do go with that one usually for ourselves, but you want to make sure you are buying things that works for you and your family. If there's something that you just don't like, don't stock it. You don't want to have to eat food that you do not like in an emergency situation. It's going to be tough enough already. You want to have foods that taste good and are giving you the nutrients you need. And number 9 on my list is freeze-dried meats. Any kind of freeze-dried meats that you like, or TVP works as well. It's a lot cheaper, and a lot of people use it instead of meats in their things. TVP is just textured vegetable proteins, so you can still get that feel of meat in your foods, but the freeze-dried is wonderful because it's going to last. You don't even have to rotate it really. A lot of meats are going to be fine for just 20 years on the shelf. When you need it, it'll be there. It is an investment, but I think it's an important one because it's usually really good meat, and it tastes good compared to some canned meats are not always, the texture's a little funky on them, so the freeze-dried meats can be wonderful to switch up that texture a little and give you a little more of a fresh taste in that emergency situation. And number 10 on my list is jerky. Jerky is wonderful, and it lasts for about a year on the shelf. Sometimes you can dry it a little bit more and have it last a little longer. We like to keep jerky rotated on the shelf, but it is wonderful for that protein. It's dried. You can even rehydrate it and cook with it a little bit. Kind of salty, but you know what most things are. Anything dried like that is usually pretty salty, but you can make it at home also. You can do turkey jerky, pork, beef, chicken, elk, whatever. If you're hunting deer jerky is pretty good too. Whatever it is that you have that you can make jerky out of, you can do it right in your oven. You can do it in a dehydrator. It's pretty easy to do. You just got to soak that meat in your marinade and then dry it out. And that is it for my top 10 shelf-stable proteins that I think everybody should have these in their pantry. Again, if there's something that you don't like, don't get it. I really think it's important to make sure that we enjoy the foods that are in our pantry, and having some extra things is wonderful, but we want to make sure that we do enjoy them and they're okay to eat. We don't want to have to force ourselves in a horrible situation to eat horrible food as well if we don't have to. So making sure we're keeping that pantry full and full of proteins and all the nutrients that we need is really important. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.